Imagine if every time you wanted to pay for a pizza, instead of just tapping your card, you had to solve a Sudoku puzzle so big it could make Einstein weep and then compete with thousands of other people around the world who are also trying to solve the exact same puzzle. And the winner not only gets the pizza, but also a shiny gold coin worth thousands of dollars. Welcome to the bizarre, brain-melting, and energy-guzzling world of Bitcoin mining, the only industry where the term striking it rich involves neither a shovel nor a mine shaft, but does involve enough electricity to power a small country. Now, before you start picturing sweaty gamers in hoodies hacking into the Matrix, let us be clear. Bitcoin mining is not about actual mining. There are no pickaxes, no canaries in cages, and definitely no glittering nuggets of crypto hiding in caves. It is more like a giant, global math competition with computers instead of calculators, and the prize is digital money that your parents still think is made up. The process works like this. The Bitcoin network is made up of thousands of computers all over the planet, each one trying to solve insanely complex mathematical problems. These are not problems like, what is 47 plus 62? They are more like, find a magical number that, when fed through a special equation, gives you an answer that starts with 18 zeros. It is called finding a hash, and it is basically a lottery where the ticket numbers are generated by computers guessing trillions of times per second. When one of these computers gets lucky and finds the right hash, it gets to add a new block of transactions to the blockchain, which is like the official public diary of Bitcoin, and as a reward, the miner gets some newly minted Bitcoin plus the transaction fees from that block. This is where the term mining comes from, because they are digging for new coins, except the digging is done with electricity and processors instead of pickaxes and dynamite. Now here is where it gets a little ridiculous. The more people that mine Bitcoin, the harder the puzzles get. This is not an accident. It is built into the system to keep the rate of new Bitcoin predictable, so that no matter how many people join the race, only one block is mined roughly every 10 minutes. Imagine if running a marathon worked like that, and the moment more runners joined, the organizers made the track twice as long and set wild dogs loose at mile 15, just to keep things interesting. The puzzles get more difficult automatically every 2 weeks, so miners have to keep upgrading their hardware to stay competitive. Back in 2009, you could mine Bitcoin using a normal laptop, and people were casually making hundreds of Bitcoin without even noticing their electricity bill. Today, you need specialized hardware called ASICs, which stands for Application Specific Integrated Circuit, which is basically a fancy way of saying super expensive computer that is good at exactly one thing and useless for anything else, except maybe propping up a wobbly table. These machines are so powerful that if you plugged one into your kitchen, you might trip the circuit breaker, melt your toaster, and turn your fridge into a sauna. Of course, all that computing power comes at a cost, and that cost is energy, massive amounts of it. Bitcoin mining currently consumes more electricity each year than entire countries like Argentina or the Netherlands. Imagine the whole of Amsterdam switching off its lights so that a warehouse in Texas can mine virtual coins. This has sparked a lot of criticism, with environmentalists pointing out that it is like burning down a forest to print monopoly money. Miners counter by saying that they often use renewable energy, excess hydroelectric power, or surplus natural gas that would otherwise be wasted. Some even claim that mining can stabilize electrical grids by buying up excess power when demand is low and shutting down when demand spikes, which sounds nice until you remember that the goal is still to win a digital math race. Here is where the money part gets interesting. Every time a miner solves a block, they get a fixed reward of Bitcoin, which started at 50 Bitcoin in 2009, and is cut in half roughly every 4 years in an event called the halving. That is right, the prize keeps shrinking. It went from 50 to 25 to 12.5, and now it is 6.25 Bitcoin per block, with the next halving due soon, which will drop it to 3.125. It is like your boss announcing that your salary will be halved every 4 years, but you are expected to keep working harder anyway. The reason for this shrinking reward is to control inflation and cap the total supply of Bitcoin at 21 million coins, which is projected to happen around the year 2140. After that, miners will only earn transaction fees, which might still be lucrative if Bitcoin's value is high enough, but could also make mining about as profitable as selling sand in the desert. The competitive nature of mining has led to the rise of mining pools, where groups of miners join forces, combine their computing power, and split the rewards according to how much work each one contributes. This is like buying a lottery ticket with 1,000 friends, so you win more often, but the prize is split so thinly that you can barely buy a cup of coffee with your share. Large mining farms, often located in countries with cheap electricity, dominate the industry, and some are so big they look like data centers for alien civilizations. Rows upon rows of humming machines, cooling fans roaring like jet engines, and technicians wandering through with noise-canceling headphones and the 1,000-yard stare of someone who has not seen daylight in weeks. These operations run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because any downtime is lost revenue. If a single ASIC goes offline, somewhere an accountant faints. But mining is not just about money. It also secures the Bitcoin network. Those math puzzles the miners are solving are actually the thing that keeps Bitcoin safe from hackers. To change a past transaction, you would have to redo all the work for that block and every block after it, faster than the rest of the network combined, which is practically impossible unless you have more computing power than the entire network. This makes Bitcoin what is called trustless, not because it is sketchy, but because you do not have to trust anyone to verify transactions. The system itself guarantees it. It is a bit like a bank that works without bankers, security guards, or even doors, but somehow never gets robbed. Of course, the question everyone wants answered is, can you still make money mining Bitcoin today? The short answer is yes, but the long answer is only if you have cheap electricity, access to the latest ASICs, and a high tolerance for risk, heat, and noise. Profit margins are razor thin for most small miners, and the volatility of Bitcoin prices means that one day you could be rolling in crypto riches, and the next day you are explaining to your partner why the electricity bill is higher than the rent. Many miners treat it like a high-stakes gamble, while others see it as a long-term bet on Bitcoin's future. Some people mine not for profit, but for ideological reasons, supporting the decentralized network and keeping it independent from governments and banks. These folks are basically the crypto equivalent of hobby farmers who keep chickens in the backyard even though eggs are cheaper at the supermarket. The future of Bitcoin mining is uncertain. As rewards shrink, only the most efficient operations will survive, and there is a constant arms race for better technology. Some believe mining will eventually be powered entirely by renewable energy, making it environmentally friendly, while others worry that the concentration of mining power into a few big players could threaten Bitcoin's decentralization. Meanwhile, other cryptocurrencies are experimenting with different systems that do not require massive energy consumption, like proof of stake, where you secure the network by locking up coins instead of burning electricity. Whether Bitcoin will ever switch to such a system is a hotly debated topic. And by hotly, we mean there have been actual shouting matches at crypto conferences. So in summary, Bitcoin mining is a global digital treasure hunt powered by mathematics, electricity, and a dash of human greed. It is part high-tech engineering, part economic experiment, and part environmental headache. It rewards those who can balance technology, efficiency, and timing, and punishes those who think they can just plug in a laptop and get rich overnight. The puzzles are getting harder, the rewards are getting smaller, and the competition is fiercer than ever. But for those who win, the payoff can be life-changing. Whether you see it as genius, madness, or both, there is no denying that Bitcoin mining is one of the most fascinating phenomena of the digital age. And if you have watched all the way to this point, you now know more about it than most people who own Bitcoin. which means you can confidently nod at the next dinner party when someone says, "Oh, I hear mining is bad for the environment," and reply, "Well, actually," while secretly enjoying the power of knowing exactly what is going on behind the scenes. So, next time you think about Bitcoin, remember, somewhere in the world, a warehouse full of screaming computers is locked in a race to solve the hardest Sudoku puzzle ever created, all for the chance to add a line in a digital diary and grab some shiny coins that only exist on the internet. Whether that makes Bitcoin mining brilliant or bonkers is up to you. But one thing is for sure, it is not slowing down anytime soon. Now, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the secret life of Bitcoin miners, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button until it files a complaint, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think mining is worth it? Or is it just digital madness dressed in a suit of mathematics? Let us know and keep watching. XQ, quick, funny explanations. For more fast, funny, and genius-level content delivered at the speed of laughter.